Good afternoon, everyone, Chemung County and all the media. After meeting last night and information yesterday coming out from the IDA audit, I felt it was important that the IDA comes out and walks through some of the findings that we had yesterday in our meeting. One of the interesting things is this arena has been here for 24 years, moving on to 25. And there's never been an audit on this facility. The IDA executive, Joe Roman, requested that we put bring an audit team in so that we could figure out whether or not we have all the basis of this company put together the proper way. So I welcome this opportunity because I think it's important that we clarify some things that came out in the audit meeting yesterday. I look at this as an opportunity to present the facts of information, where we're going, how we got here, and moving forward. So a number of the items that were brought up were systematic items that the auditors had some concerns with. So some of those items we talked about, pretty simple, but there was some questions on how revenue was accounted for. So we have a group of legacy partners, and we have a group of suite holders, and they provide us funding on a one-time basis or as the year goes on. And the way the accounting is supposed to work is it's supposed to be spread out over a 12-month period of time. What we had done is we put it in for that month as income versus spreading it out over the long period of time. Deferred revenue, put it in as deferred revenue versus immediate revenue. So that was something that we actually have already talked about to fix. The other key item that was brought out was debit card that we would use to purchase items that we would need on a quick basis. It was brought out that there was not a lot of controls on the debit card. However, the manager, Brandon, he used the credit card 99.9% of the time. When it wasn't used, it was in a safe so that it couldn't be used by anyone else. So I wanted to just mention that. We are also changing from a debit card to a credit card because the auditors felt that the credit card would provide us with a better structure of the expense activity that we have to have a better record keeping. So we're working on that also. Another item was that was brought up on the segregation of duties. We have Rick Nutter-Afonso, who does our accounting, and because we are trying to streamline things and keep our costs down, Rick takes on a lot of responsibility that maybe needs to be segregated out, and a couple of other people need to be involved. So Rick was in a position where he would bring in the income, he would sign off on the income, do the deposits, write the checks. Well, we're going to change that and make sure that we add another person or two to the process so that we have better record keeping and we have check and balance on both of those items. Documentation of revenue to deposit and reconciliation. When we first got started, again, we didn't have a whole lot of systems in place. We were modifying things as we went along. And the interesting thing is that when the auditors came in and the auditors gave us some suggestions, we modified things as we went along. Rick made changes as we went along, and we're working towards that. We've also are going to reach out to discuss the opportunity of a consultant to come in to help us modify our systems to make sure that we're doing everything the right way. One of the challenges is if you've ever owned your own business, building a business inside a government entity is extremely difficult and is very hard to do. And that's actually what we're doing. Ultimately, we need to set a better, actually our system's set up a little bit better than we have, and we're working on that. There was an item brought up in inventory on concessions. One of our downfalls, one of the challenges with a venue like this, you have constant concessions building and going out. So we are putting in a system in place so that we make sure that we have an inventory system to monitor everything that we bring into the building and then everything that is consumed. What I'd like to do is, I don't know, our executive of the IDA is here, Joe Roman. I know, Joe, is there anything else that you would like to add to the items that I've currently brought up? Is there anything that you think that we need to expound on?
No, I think
Okay.
I can always add.
Okay. What I'd like to do is, just to be fair, I'd like to ask questions. If you have any questions on the arena and the operation, you know, our goal has always been to bring this arena back to life. And I've always said there's three options. Option number one is knock it down. Option number two is let us sit there. Option number three is let's find a way to move it forward. One of the things you'll find out as you look around this building, all these names up here are supporting this operation. These legacy partners have invested in the future of this arena. We have a team here that has dedicated themselves to bringing this facility back in the right way. There's never been an audit on this building. And I think when Joe came out and suggested we do that, I think it was a good thing for us. And I think we'll benefit from that. But I think it's important also that the public understands a few things. We don't get tax money to run this building. That's a misnomer, okay? We utilize funds that the IDA has gleaned from business opportunities that they've brought into the community. That's where the funding comes from, okay? In addition, the funding comes from sales tax from items here, also concessions, ticket sales. That's where the funds come from to run this arena. The perception is that we're utilizing sales tax revenue from the public, and we're using county tax money. The only tax money that we would potentially use would be ARP funding that came from the federal government. We've used some of that, and there is additional funds that have been allocated that are available for infrastructure development. That's what it's primarily for. It's not to run the arena. So, having said that, I just want to make sure that there's folks out there that have said we're spending a lot of taxpayers' money. It's not true. There's also a few out there that said that our accountant was running away bags of money every day. That's not true. So, we're trying to be forthright. We're trying to come out and let you know what's going on. And we want to bring this facility back to what it should be as a community facility. So what I'd like to do is, if there's any other questions, please go ahead.
Are the results of the audit available to the public?
Yes.
They will ultimately be posted on the website. We're still waiting. We're
Yep.
still waiting on the
Yeah, they will be posted on the website at a later date.
The IDAs, if not, I would say if I had to put a time frame on it, probably if not this week, next week, they should be.
Yep.
The Capital Resource Corporation is still making some adjustments for the IDAs. It'll be
Yep, it'll be available.
Are we able to get any sort of copy from the documents you already had in hand from yesterday's meeting?
I think the best thing to do is everything that's going to be in the audit, the final audit, which has been approved, would be more information than what I would normally have because they've made adjustments.
Mark, I know,
Yes, sir.
I know the IDA and the county have said in the past they don't want to be in the business of operating an arena, and you find yourself still in that business. Is the ultimate goal at some point to find a private outfit like you had before to run the place, or do you see the current arrangement kind of being for the foreseeable future?
I'm glad you asked the question. The vision of the IDA board and the group of people that work here, the vision was to stabilize the facility, bring it back functionally, put it in a good position so that it was a potentially saleable item or an item that could be transferred to another entity. However, I would prefer that that entity has a similar vision that we have, which is a community facility, which it's never been. It's been a hockey facility. And granted, hockey is great for the community, but when you look at just hockey, I think it won't support the future of the facility. And that's why we have taken the other hockey rink, turned it into a turf facility, because that's going to provide us with additional opportunities for the rest of the community to come in and enjoy the facility. Because not everybody enjoys hockey. We have an opportunity for lacrosse, soccer, indoor football. In fact, a lot of the athletes that play soccer and lacrosse in the wintertime, they travel to Binghamton to play indoors. So we'll have an indoor facility that will allow them to do that. So it'll basically transform this facility into something it's never been. We'll have a lot of flexibility. With concerts and other small venues, we'll be able to put them in that back area. We could put, 500 to 1,000 people in chairs. We do the same thing in here. So it opens up a lot of flexibility for the future of the arena. So I would envision that we would transfer the ownership of this over the next, call it 3 to 5 years. I know that Joe Roman doesn't want to be in the facilities, in the managing of arenas, and neither do I, but we acquired this facility, and there's not a whole lot of options.
You mentioned hockey. Is hockey coming back to First Arena next season?
Hockey will be back to First Arena next season. We're currently in the process of working on negotiating a fair and reasonable opportunity for both parties, but we're not there yet. But you will have hockey in this arena next year.
Was there anything unexpected that came from the audit? Was there anything that was just alarming or just out of the ordinary?
No, I don't think there was anything alarming, unexpected. I actually truly expected what we received, which is the concern of setting up proper systems to monitor things. It's nothing strange to me. I think we got what we expected.
And is there a plan for an audit each year moving forward?
I think what my suggestion, talking with Joe and some of the other folks, is that we will look at a consultant like any other business would do to help us get things in line, to make sure that we're on the right track of the suggestions that the auditor made, and we're looking into that now. It's not like, when an audit is done, it's to get the checks and balances in the right format. And that's really what we wanted to do, because we've never run the facility like this before. This facility has always been run by hockey. And if you notice, there's never been a penny paid to the county or the IDA in 24 years. It all goes to hockey. So we stepped in because we acquired this facility and we wanted to manage it, maintain it, stabilize it. So we had to put a team in here to put all those things together. So, yeah, there's nothing strange.
You mentioned that the IDA isn't funded by taxpayer dollars, correct? So,
Joe, would you like to come up? I'm going to ask you to come up because I want Joe to answer this. He's been involved with the IDA for a number of years, and I'd like Joe to answer the question.
Sure.
is the IDA funded by taxpayer dollars?
It is not. It is funded mainly by fees that we do when we do development projects. That's where the primary revenue source from the IDA comes from.
But partially funded by the American Rescue Plan, which is technically federal taxpayer dollars, no?
We used ARPA dollars for, as Mark mentioned before, for some small improvements that we've done in the past. As Mark had also mentioned, there's potential money lined up from the county to do some additional work here. That is federal funds. Also, when the city of Elmira committed ARPA funds for the roof, that was also some public monies. However, by and large, the day-to-day operations that we've been doing this past year have been run by the IDA, and again, that's by fees from projects that we've done. So
most of that money isn't from the American Rescue Plan? It's from
correct,
other
correct.
revenue sources, yeah.
And the $500,000 in American Rescue Plan funds that was set aside for the arena by the county legislature, how might that money be used?
My understanding, and certainly Mr. Margeson can chime in, my understanding is to be used for infrastructure improvements on the building,
Like,
capital projects. So if you need new equipment, new machinery, that type of thing. So, but it's for the building, not, for example, like not a new
Right.
Zamboni, something that has to be part of the physical facility. Is that correct?
Yep,
Yeah.
that's correct.
You know, I'll just chime on in one thing too, your question earlier about the audit. As Mark had mentioned, we are going to work with the consultant on the audit to do some of these corrective measures to help us implement that now. I do anticipate there will be an audit every year because it's something that should be done. I'll also mention, as far as I know, and I think Mr. Margeson might have touched on this, in the years that I've been doing this, in the years that I'm familiar with the arena, I think this is probably the first audit that's ever been done on a facility. So that's a step forward for us to do and a good practice for us to do year in, year out. But that is a first time that we've done something like this.
Now, the arena has some concert schedule moving forward. The 80s concert and there's a country concert as well. Will the arena be open after those concerts? Is there any concerns about that?
No, I think, and again, Mr. Margeson could chime in on this. No, I think the expectation is to keep this facility open. Mark had mentioned some options before, and I'll talk about like kind of the end of the options. You all know this because we talked about it years ago. When we first came on to look at this facility, even prior to Mr. Margeson, there were a couple options. One, as Mark had mentioned, you could let the facility go dark. Now, to me, from an economic development perspective and a community perspective, that is not something you want to do. This is a major community asset built for us at a huge expense over 20 years ago to benefit this community. We did not want to see that end. The second option, as you all know, is a lease arrangement. That's the lease arrangement that we've been currently working on, and I think we've made tremendous progress and tremendous strides. When people have come in this building, as you all know, the transformation that has occurred in here in terms of the capital investment that's been made is tremendous. The fact that we got the FPHL in here again and had a team this year is another major success. The fact that we have concerts is another major success. The fact that we put a team together and a business plan together is a huge success. You got to remember, this is, as Mark had said before, this is the first year of this business operation. So in terms of where we're at, I'm pretty satisfied in terms of some of the progress that we made. Granted, there's a long way to go. There's some things that we need to do, but I think we've done quite a few good things that people forget about. The third option, as people always talk about, well, why don't you sell the facility? As Mark had said before, yes, we do anticipate selling the facility in the future, but also realize we've been in this boat before where we've tried to sell the facility and we looked at it. The bottom line is, as far as I've been here, we really have not had very many credible, if any at all, offers on the building. And remember, an offer is twofold. One, you want to get some good market value for the facility, right? Because we put a lot of money into this. The second thing is you got to remember there has to be somebody here that has to operate the facility, as Mark had said, successfully in the vision that the community has as a community-oriented facility. So it has not been easy to sell. Hopefully, as the IDA and the capital resource get the facility more in line and more prepared, that will happen in the future.
You asked a question about events and things that are going on here. What I'll do is I just want to give you a couple of ideas. We did just have a nice event. The Celtic dancers came out really well. I think there were about 850 people. The Femmes of Rock are going to be here on the 26th. I'm using this as an advertising idea, just so you know. The main arena, Abducted by the 80s, Wayne Chung, The Motels, Naked Eyes on June 15th. June 16th, Britt Floyd. We're going to have Cooper Allen on the 17th. We've got a couple of other options that are coming out, and there's more to come. So I just wanted to make sure that Everybody knows the place is going to be open. The arena next door is going to be in operation soon, and we'll have indoor activities there. And I'm asking the community to have some patience with us, and we're trying to be transparent with everything that we can. We're in a good position. We need to modify some things, but we're in a good position. I'm comfortable with it. So I wanted to make sure we got out, clarified some things today for you folks so that we can kind of settle things down and move forward.
Knowing the arena is unlikely to break even on expenditures, how do you plan to make sure it's financially secure or as close to it can be in the future?
Well, our goal is to come as close as we possibly can, and the IDA will continue to make up the difference in funding as we move along. But the other thing, since you mentioned that, I'd like to bring up, have you done any research on arenas around the country? Do you realize that not one breaks even? In fact, Binghamton loses $3 million a year, and they're subsidized by the county. So, the closer we get to a break even or being even close to it, think about the difference. Let's say we do lose $200,000 a year. Let's say that happens. How many people stayed at hotels? How many people ate at restaurants? How many people went to bars? How many people bought gas? How many people came into town for a concert, for the games? So you've got to look at the economic benefit of this facility. If it doesn't break even, the community is making money. So that's the other positive thing that people don't understand, that if the arena doesn't make money, it's not a success. It is a success because we're bringing people in downtown Elmira. People are staying in hotels. Every game, every single hockey game, hotel rooms are occupied because the teams are all from out of town. All the restaurants are full, all the bars are full, the parking. So there's a lot of income that's coming into this area, sales tax revenue. And we don't get any sales tax revenue. We generate it, but we don't get any of it. So just keep that in mind when people say, is it going to break even? Probably not, but the economic benefit is significant.
And I guess moving forward, will there be more public discussion of the arena during regular IDA meetings rather than in executive session?
The only reason we would go into executive session is on personnel issues and economic issues, budget type issues. Other than that, we would normally not go into those times. You want to mention anything?
Yeah, I would agree with that. And when we're negotiating contracts, typically when you're negotiating a contract, that is also something that we would go into executive session for. But by and large, as Mark has mentioned, we would want to keep everything as much as we possibly can out of executive session and in the open.
Yeah, one of the misnomers is that when we go into executive session, we're hiding things. We don't want to tell you anything. Normally, it's about a company and their financials to make sure they're financially stable to come into the community, or it's financials on a decision that we need to make, that we need to discuss it in advance. And they're legal discussions. It's not we're trying to hide anything. There's things in public that we can't set up until we know the real answers. Anything else?
And I guess, was there a time frame on the turf field and when people can start really getting in there for practice, soccer, lacrosse?
Oh, you don't want this?
You can
Okay,
answer
fine.
that one.
The turf field is being worked on as we speak. We had to put nets up around the entire perimeter and the ceiling. When we started to do that, we found some leaks in the fire system, and we had to fix them. That's what's taken a long period of time. But it's been painted. The leaks are fixed. We're in the process of finishing the netting, which will probably go on this weekend. We need to go in and level again, and then we'll put the turf down. I keep saying it's going to be in 2 or 3 weeks. I don't have an exact date, but I'm thinking in the next 4 to 6 weeks. Yes, sir.
One more question I have.
Yeah.
Obviously, as you alluded to earlier, this arena's been here for more than 20 years. people were very hopeful when it first opened, didn't pan out. Every time some new outfit comes in or something, there's always high hopes. I remember writing about the last Mammoth Entertainment when they came in, and then there were high hopes then, and that didn't pan out. Is it ever in the back of your mind that maybe this just isn't meant to be, or are you pretty confident that you've got the team assembled that can pull this off?
I believe that it's a distinct possibility we can get this done. That's just my belief. When I ran for my position as a legislator 5 years ago, 6 years ago, one of the things that I wanted to do was get this back to where it should be. It's always been about hockey and not about community. I believe if it's about community and more people are engaged in activities that they enjoy, then I think we have one heck of an opportunity. But it's got to be about more than just hockey. It's got to be about community, and that's our goal. And our goal would be to transfer the property to someone that has that same vision to move this facility forward as a facility that's community-minded. And I believe the turf will allow that to happen. I believe the vision of bringing lacrosse back would allow that to happen. The events that we have for all ages, and the folks that we have now involved in marketing, I think they've done a great job in getting that information out. You notice if you go into hockey games, we've elevated the number of people that are here, the people that are involved, and we have a lot of ideas to make that even better. So yes, I think it can be successful.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, we're all set. I appreciate you coming out. I wanted to make sure that we dealt with this audit issue and kind of calm things down and put it to bed. Thank you.